Good morning and welcome to the Voices of the Vic podcast with myself today, Joe Thomas. I'm joined by today Caity Kirkley and Mike Duffy. We're here to discuss the amazing 2-0 victory derby yesterday. What a win it was. First of all, Caity, you were there yesterday. How are you and how was it in that away end yesterday?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, it was really good yesterday. It was the first away I've actually done this season, and I seem to have picked a good one. But yeah, it's probably been one that's going to be up there with my favourite away days. I think it was just the atmosphere paired with the result. It was just so good, and yeah, I feel very positive now, even though we've had a rough couple of games. But I feel more positive going into sort of the end of January.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. Like I've just been out and like I was just walking and I thought it's just great to be out and like you're just thinking about football and you're waking up after a win. Like we haven't had that experience since obviously Boxing Day when we beat Portsmouth and what a win that was as well. So yeah, nice to get back to winning ways. Mike, you watched the game yesterday. Obviously, I know you enjoyed it watching it. How are you doing as well, mate?
Yeah, like Caity said, it's just so much better, once you feel a lot more positive. And it's mad because we've just come off the back of, was it 4 straight losses? Then we drew with Cardiff to sort of stop the rot. And then yesterday, I don't really care if Derby were poor. That was exactly what that Watford team needed. Regardless of if they were poor, how many times have we faced a poor team away? But because we're poor away, they still get something out of the game. So I know a lot of people might look at it as, well, Derby were terrible, but we haven't performed like that away from home this season, full stop. So that will breed confidence. Winning is a habit. Let's hope we can get into that rhythm now because we got another, dare I say it, winnable game at home on Tuesday. And then who is it?
It's Coventry and then Norwich.
Yeah, that's right. Coventry away again, winnable if we play like we did yesterday. But yeah, very good. And it really brightens up your Saturday. I've not been feeling very well. You can probably hear that I'm still sort of a bit bunged up, but it definitely brightens up your Saturday. And yeah, I was in a great mood watching yesterday. And you rang me earlier, Joe, and I said I was gutted not to go, but watching it from the warmth of my own living room with a couple of beers in hand was still the next best thing. So yeah, delighted, and it's great to talk on these podcasts about a win. So yeah,
we always say it's tough, like to talk about defeats, and it does get harder, doesn't it? Like when you see some really miserable performances and stuff. But yeah, like I say, it was great yesterday, and as Ski Boy said, yeah, great win to lift the gloom. It was. And hopefully that will continue going into this week. But just before we kind of go into Watford-related things, just a couple of non-Watford-related things. Really sad news yesterday. I don't know if anybody saw Portsmouth yesterday before their start of their game. As the teams came out, there was a medical emergency. The club confirmed that, sadly, someone died before the game yesterday. Obviously really sad, and, thoughts are with the club, family, friends of that person, because it's a real sad thing to, as I said to Mike earlier when I called him, no one should really go to football and not come home. So yeah, really sad, and thoughts are with them. And just a good thing yesterday. It was really pleasing to see. I know we mentioned on the podcast when Tony Mowbray was kind of diagnosed with whatever he was and he went away ill. It was really sad to see him come out of the game. It was great to see him back in the dugout yesterday at West Brom and back managing again. So yeah, good luck to him and his tenure there at West Brom. But yeah, going into us yesterday, obviously Jonathan Bond started in goal. A clean sheet for him. Obviously the first clean sheet and victory away from home all season. Made a fantastic save in the second half to keep us in the game. He's obviously, Tom's mentioned as well that he's carrying a bit of an injury. He was injured in training. They obviously gave him something to try and see him through the game yesterday, but he struggled towards the end of the game. Obviously, Pollock was on goal kicks from about, I think it was the 70th minute, wasn't it, that he was struggling. First of all, Caity, what did you think of Jonathan Bond's performance yesterday? And how pleased are you, that he's doing well in the side at the moment?
Yeah, he was excellent, and I think that even when Bachmann came straight back in, I still thought that it was wrong, and Bond should have carried on playing, because I feel like he is the better goalkeeper. You just see when he's playing, the defense are so much more relaxed when he's there. They're not worrying about what he's doing. He made some really, really good saves yesterday that were something that I could have definitely seen Bachmann just comically conceding. Yeah, I don't know about the injury. Obviously, Tom released those statements this morning about how it is a small injury, but I said to my dad, I was like, why is Pollock taking all the goal kicks? And he was like, oh, it's because they're just time wasting. And I was like, oh, okay. But no, I think it was a injury thing. But then he seemed okay. If it was bad, he probably would have gone off. But he was okay, and he was still playing at full potential then. And he made some really, really good saves. And I think it is just having that calm presence in between the posts that can really help the defenders.
Yeah, do you know what? It's funny. I was talking to one of my friends I know from football this morning. He said, whenever Bond does make a mistake, the difference between him and Bachmann being in between the sticks and how the defence is if a mistake's made is just really telling at times. When it happens with Bond, the defenders are still calm. There's still a calmness, but when it's Bachmann, the players just seem to kind of panic, and it's just a completely different feel. But Mike, obviously, Tom's mentioned that we might need to get somebody in before Tuesday. That's obviously they're assessing him, I imagine, this morning and probably this afternoon. It's a pretty big ask, isn't it, to get a decent enough keeper in before the game on Tuesday? You're a little bit concerned we might have to start with Miles Roberts on Tuesday?
Yeah, I am, to be honest, and I'm a little bit disappointed that was the trigger for Tom to say, I think we're going to have to get another goalkeeper in. I would have hoped that when Bachmann's injury sort of news was confirmed, that would have been the trigger to be like, right, we need another goalkeeper. And it's nothing on Jonathan Bonds, because as Katie's rightly said there, he shouldn't have got dropped for that Luton game, because he did well enough. I was at that game where Bachmann come off against Norwich, and then Bondy come in, and he had some solid games, and he shouldn't have been dropped. So I don't. Like I say, it's not a slight on Jonathan Bonds, but we do need another goalkeeper, because yes, Miles Roberts has done exceedingly well at Partick Thistle, and we were getting first-hand accounts of his performances. There was a lad on our Instagram called Ethan, who I believe runs an Instagram page, the Partick Thistle Corner, I think it's called, and he was messaging us every time Roberts played, and he was lauding him like you wouldn't believe. And yes, I know the Scottish Championship is very different to the standard of the EFL Championship, but you're not going to be comfortable with Roberts sort of leading that, because he's not had the exposure of the English Football League. So yeah, a little bit disappointed, as I say, that it's only now that Klebs is saying we should probably get a goalkeeper in. Cam messaged the group before we went live a few minutes ago saying that Pete from Do Not Scratch Your Eyes reckons that there's a goalkeeper already in the building. Now, for me, the link with Mark Travers, that would be a perfect goalkeeper to get in. Although the only memory I have of Mark Travers is us going to Bournemouth in the season that we're relegated, and we won 3-0. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I think Deeney scored, Pereira scored, and was it Sarr got one?
Yeah, I think it was
Sarr's goal, the first goal, was because Travers messed up on it, trying to play out from the back. So, yeah, but yeah, in answer to your question, I think we do need to get a goalkeeper in. Will it be before Tuesday? Well, the fact it's now almost Sunday lunchtime, is a rule not that we'd have to have him in the building by today, or can he be registered tomorrow?
I can never remember. I'm sure for a Saturday game, I'm pretty sure you have to be registered by midday on a Thursday. I'm not sure you can be registered the day before. So yeah. I could be completely wrong. If someone's in the comments and knows, then do let us know. But I'm pretty sure it has to be more than 24 or 36 hours before for registration purposes. I don't know, but yeah, it's getting late, and obviously with the game on Tuesday, like you say, it's one of those things where you're just like, oh, is it going to happen, isn't it? And is he going to play through an injury, and is it going to make it worse? And then, yeah, so obviously we just wish him a speedy recovery, and hopefully, it's a bit of a shame though, really, isn't it? Because obviously, like you said, he come back into the side because Backman got injured. He was wrongly taken out. He's been given a chance again, and he's got an injury which is going to take him out the side. And if we get someone like Mark Travers in, he's not going to come in and then just put Travers on the bench, is he? So Bond's going to have a spell out the team again. So it's a bit harsh on him. So yeah, just wish him a speedy recovery, and hopefully he does get back soon.
Well, we're saying this, Joe. Sorry to cut you off there. We're saying this. I mean, Clevs hasn't said officially that he's ruled out. So obviously our fingers are crossed that he's okay. Regardless, I still think we need to get another goalkeeper in. But fingers crossed he's okay, and we see him in the sticks on Tuesday night. So
yeah, that is worth pointing out. Actually, yeah, he's not actually 100% confirmed ruled him out. Going into the back line yesterday, a Banquer, a great start in a Watford shirt. I know I'm going to mention it. Michael Week has started the James Banquer fan club in our podcast chat. He's fully behind him. I've got to say, after his performance yesterday, I'm hopefully the first member on this fan club, because I thought he was fantastic yesterday. I thought the desire within the first minute to want to win the ball. Obviously, he got booked very early on yesterday, but after that, I thought he showed a real calmness, a real assured performance at the back yesterday. Mike, I'll come to you because I know how much you wanted him to do well. Were you pleased to see him do well yesterday?
Yeah, the Banquet army, we're calling it, is in full flow. Now, do you know what it is though? It's and listen, I understand that there's games left in the season, and someone's pointed out. I mean, I sort of had to roll my eyes when I saw the comment, but he's got a point. He sort of said, "Look, we'll judge him come the end of his loan spell," and he's absolutely right in a sense. But the poor lad, I don't know if he's on social media or if he actively checks it. He must have been, when that news was announced, that first link from Lou Orns tweeted it, he must have been looking at social media and he must have been thinking, why the fuck am I going here? They don't want me. And he was written off before he even kicked the ball. I put a tweet out, right? I probably should have prepped it and had some of the responses ready. But I put a tweet out when that news was announced that we were signing him. And I said, this poor lad, he's not even kicked the ball yet and he's been written off by Watford fans. And they were like, well, he had a failed loan spell at Charlton, and he, Udinese haven't really played him. He's barely played any football. And listen, I understand that. And I'm not saying that he's going to come in and be the next best thing since sliced bread. But for goodness sake, get behind the players. Like, it just really frustrates me. It does. And, I mean, probably not great that he got booked 30 seconds into his debut. By the way, I didn't think that was a booking. Just saying. He won the ball. Yeah, fair and square. It was a meaty challenge. So, yeah, but other than that, the rest of his debut, he was superb. There was a chance, I can't remember who it fell to. He almost got an assist on his debut because he went down on that right-hand side and he sort of cut it back and someone had a shot on the edge of the... I think it was Ngakia, actually. It was a really poor shot.
Oh, yeah.
Not like him at all. But... he could have had an assist on his debut, but he slotted in like you wouldn't believe. I mean, look, I will hold my hands up. Yes, I have obviously been sort of rooting for him since it was announced, but I think we all had a bit of a laugh at Tom Cleverley's comments when he signed him, saying he's someone that we've been keeping an eye on. He'll fit straight in, and it's like, come on, mate, like pull the other one. But do you know what? If he continues in that vein of form, then I think it's a solid signing, and yeah, just what we need. So delighted for his debut, delighted for a Banquer, and let's see him on Tuesday night, please, Clebs.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting, obviously, to see moving forward. Obviously, it's another option on that right-hand side. Caity, do you think that he's done enough in his debut to keep a place and keep Andrews out of the side, or can you? Well, obviously, it's all whether Tom decides to stick with the formation. Obviously, he went 4-4, more 4-4-2 4-2-2. No, sorry, not 4-4-2. 4-2-3-1 again yesterday. If he sticks with that formation, do you see a bank for keeping his place in the side?
100%, and I think it's all telling that the fact that he literally got to the club on Thursday and played. I mean, I don't know what minute he went off, but he played like 60, 70 minutes. Like, he played for most of the game, and he looked fit. Like, he looked like he could have gone on for longer. You know, even at the end, he was still running around. He managed to hold off. I'm not sure who he was marking, that guy, but he had him in his pocket. And then when Andrews came on, you could see every time Andrews was getting beaten by that player. And it just showed like we were suddenly really exposed on that side. And they did have a couple chances towards the end after James went off. But I think it was a very, very solid debut. And I honestly think that for me, he gets a start on Tuesday. And I could definitely see him keeping that place in the side. And as well, like, he was even getting involved with the crowd. A lot of the players were going like this all game, and he was one of them. And then he also got a standing ovation when he got taken off. So I think it's a really, really positive start for him. So excited to see what he can do at Vicarage Road.
Yeah. You mentioned Andrews. I was actually going to kind of bring him up at the end, but it's just worth kind of pointing out. And I know, you know, I don't want to be seen to be digging him out too much here, but I've got a real issue with him at the moment and just how easy people are getting past him. Like, it's becoming a real concern. I think I counted a couple of occasions yesterday where people are picking up the ball and he's just not laying a glove on anyone, and it just breezing past him, and he's leaving it to the next person to kind of pick it up. He seems to be struggling a bit at the moment, Mike, doesn't he?
Yeah, there goes another subscriber. Thanks, Joe. No, just before we talk about Ryan Andrews, I've just been doing a bit of Googling, and in relation to the goalkeeper, new signings, etc., I have found on the EFL website there is a section, and it says, when is the deadline for registering a player in relation to the next round of fixtures? So according to the EFL website, documents have to be submitted prior to 12 noon on the day prior to the date of the relevant match. So if he's to play on Tuesday, it needs to be signed and sealed and everything by Monday, 12 p.m, no later. Otherwise, he cannot play on Tuesday.
So about 24 hours then.
yeah, basically 24 hours, almost bang on, yeah. But yeah, Andrews yesterday, come on. I totally get why he come on, because both our fullbacks are on a yellow card. And to be honest, I probably would have made the subs a little bit sooner, because I don't think, I love Ngakia, but I don't think it was his best game yesterday. I thought he looked a bit sort of sloppy and a bit tired. But yeah, Corey Blackett-Taylor come on, and I'm grateful that we had that 2-goal cushion, because if there was a goal in it, how one of his sort of teammates didn't get on the end of what he was producing was brilliant. Yeah. He was really giving Andrews a tough time, and it sounds like Corey Blackett-Taylor is their version of Jeremy Ngakia, because the stream I was watching had the Derby commentary, and when he went down injured after one of the tackles, he come back on, but it was more a case of, we need you back on the pitch for numbers as opposed to being able to play, because he couldn't walk. And they said it was typical, you know, Blackett-Taylor's been out for so long, he comes back from an injury and then he gets injured again. And I just thought they could very well here be talking about Jeremy Ngakia for all I know. But yeah, Corey Blackett-Taylor had him for toast every time, and he looked sloppy again yesterday. And listen, I don't care if anyone disagrees, to be honest. That's what podcasts are for. But for me, the way that we're going at the moment, especially Abankwah, seeing him play over on that right-hand side, I think Andrews is going to be very lucky to see his name on the team sheet going forward for the rest of the season, because, yeah, wasn't impressed with his cameo yesterday. Really wasn't.
Yeah, I agree. And like you say, it will be interesting to see what part he has to play between now and the end of the season. Because obviously, you know, if we were to sign maybe a left-back, then we've got a left-back and Ngakia, and obviously Abankwah there on that right side. So it's going to be tough for him to get in the side. If we do sign a left-back, it's actually could be worth mentioning. He might actually potentially go out on loan, maybe somewhere. Don't want to rule that out between now and the end of the season.
Andrew.
Yeah. But then saying that, they could get rid of Ebisele though, because obviously if we were to sign a left back, like a proper left back, if Sema does go this window, obviously he's not going to feature by the sound of it between now and the end of the season. You know, there's a lot of players in those positions, and I just think, you know, obviously with the Bank coming in, you know, there could be scope for someone to go. And I mean, we mentioned yesterday briefly, Festi's obviously deleted everything of his Instagram yesterday, which was pretty strange. So I don't know if something's gone on at the club there, and he's a bit upset by not being in the squad and removed himself. So yeah, it's going to be some interesting goings on in the next. I think it's 2 weeks, isn't there? Because the window's shutting slightly later this year. I think it's on the 2nd of February, not the 31st of Jan. So
2 weeks today.
Wonderful. Going on to the back line or the back two, sorry, yesterday. Pollock was captain yesterday. It was a superb captain's display, and he's just continuing to grow each game he's playing, isn't he? And he's really showing how much of a leader he is in that back line, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think he had a great game yesterday. You know, even with the captain's armband, you could tell that he was being a captain. Like, he was telling people what to do regardless of, you know, and I really saw him take James under his wing a bit as well. So it was a really good performance from him and a very solid defensive performance. So I feel like that was good, and the clean sheet was really deserved for them, because I feel like that was probably one of our best defensive performances that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it was. And Mike Serialti yesterday played alongside Pollock in the back two of obviously them playing the centre back pairing. I don't know about you, but I feel like Serialta seems more. There's a calmness to his play when he's playing as a 2 rather than as a 3. Yeah, and I thought he was fantastic yesterday at the back with Matty Pollock. I don't know what you think.
Just a word on Matty Pollock. For me, my man of the match. I know Loser ended up getting it on Watford's Twitter, and I'll be intrigued to know who everyone else is. So if you're watching, get in the comments. But yeah, Serialta for me. I said at the start of the season, I love Serialta. I think he's been a great servant for the club. I said at the start of the season that I was a little bit worried about, you know, maybe how he is as a player now. Is he maybe doesn't suit the style of play, or is he maybe losing it a bit? Then my opinion of him has been up and down this season, because some weeks, you know, he puts in a really good performance. Other weeks he looks really sloppy. But yesterday, I thought he was that experience. He's that player now. He's the experience that it knows this league, because he's played in this league long enough, and he's that experienced guy at the back. Pollock's still young, learning his trade. He's doing very well at it, but Serialta provides that sort of that knowledgeable head. So yeah, I thought he had a superb game yesterday, and I've no qualms with seeing him and Pollock partner in the back line going forward. So yeah, and not a bad defender to have on the bench. Bonner coming on as well. So between him and Serialta, I think we're all right at the back going forward, hopefully.
Yeah, I agree, and it's going to be interesting, obviously, to see moving forward if he does play the 4 at the back. How, you know, who does play alongside Matty Pollock? Because I think he's going to be the one that will start pretty much every. Well, I think he'll start every game, to be fair, unless he's injured. That kind of questions whether Ryan Porteous obviously didn't get in yesterday. Caity, do you think it could spell that it's the end of his time at Watford and he will be getting a move to Hull, as we've been hearing, or even just a move away from the club?
I don't know. I mean, obviously the links have been a bit quiet this last few days. I feel like he was there at the game and he was on the pitch, because me and my dad went up to seats a bit early, and he was out there like with everyone. And I think maybe the fact that he didn't come on yesterday solidifies something, but he was still in the team, so it's kind of like, I don't know. But again, I think I'm just trying to be positive. I don't want him to leave. Obviously, if he wants to go and we can get some cash for him, I'm not going to say no. But I do think that he's still solid for us. I mean, he did have a poor game on at Cardiff. So I think that was probably, he was more just like swapping people out, and again, like rotation. We've got a lot of games, letting him have a rest if he needs it. But yeah, I'm trying to be positive. I want him to stay, but I don't know. I felt like maybe if he was going, he'd be like not in the team and not in and around. But who knows? There's still 2 weeks left of the window.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because if personally, the formation that works for me, and it's working more and more, is when Tom does the 4-2-3-1 formation. When he persists with these wing backs and plays the three at the back, don't know. It's just something about it that just doesn't seem to click for me. And obviously, if he persists with the four at the back, then it's obviously going to make it difficult for Porto to come in. And he's obviously got a banker that can play there now as well. So that's another potential centre back. You've got obviously Serialta or Bonner and Matty Pollock. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. And just a word on Jeremy Ngakia, Mike. Played on the left yesterday. But for me, another fantastic performance. And since he's come back from injury, I think he's probably been one of the best players in a Watford shirt when he's been playing. Do you agree?
Yeah, yes and no. I think yesterday he looked quite sloppy, bit tired. I don't like him over on that left. Don't get me wrong, there's some games he's played on that left, he's put a shift in, but for me, he looks too uncomfortable. I can't remember at what stage, there was a time where he got forward yesterday, but because he was on the left, he couldn't cross it first time, or he tried to get it over on his right because his left isn't his favoured foot. And I just think, I never understand. I know it's different with wingers, but I never understand why you play a left foot on the right, etc. So, yeah, I was disappointed with Jezza yesterday. Perhaps he's finding it a bit tough playing as much as he is. He has just come back from a long injury. Maybe I'd give him a rest on Tuesday night, but then I'm not a great fan or great admirer of Yasser Larouci either. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, to be honest. So, yeah, it's a difficult one. But like you say, I think other than that, I think he has been a breath of fresh air. Was it the QPR game at home, his first game back? He was superb. And yeah, QPR away, he wasn't so superb. So, but I love Jezza. I think he's a great squad player, and hopefully now, touch wood, he doesn't get any more injuries. But yeah, maybe I'd rest him for Tuesday.
Yeah. Moving into the midfield, Imran Louza. I've been singing this guy's praises since pre-season. When I saw him, it was great to see him back in the fold, and I'm absolutely delighted to see him regularly starting for Watford because I love him as a footballer. I think he's brilliant. He's got a real calmness. He's just, what he brings to our midfield is just brilliant. And I think he needs to be starting every week from now until the end of the season for me. I think it's going to be hard push to get him out the side. Capped his performance off yesterday with a goal. Caity, obviously there were some superb scenes when that goal went in yesterday. How pleased were you to see him on the score sheet, and what did you think of his performance yesterday?
Yeah, I wasn't massively pleased when the people behind me threw beer all down my back and all over my hair, and I was literally like, day ruined. But yeah, it was great, and like you said, he had a great performance. That first half is probably some of the best football I've seen from him, and for me, I think it's just like when he's not playing with someone like Sissoko, like him and Deli Bashiru worked so well in that midfield together. And I feel like sometimes, because when he's with Sissoko, he feels like he has to like cover for him and do a bit more work. But the freedom that he was playing with in that first half was insane. He was playing so much more attacking, but he was playing more attacking, but we didn't look like we were losing that midfield. Like, it was so good, and I was really, really impressed with him. And then even when Dele Bashiru went off and Sissoko came on, I still think that he looked really good. And like you said, he did cap it off with a great goal, which was very scrappy, but at the end it was great. And we've all seen that video of them all the players running over to the away end to celebrate. So I think for me, it was all about the togetherness then, and you could really see what it meant to him.
Yeah, and like I say, I've said from pre-season, you can tell that the guy cares about the club, and he cares about being here, and he cares about the fans, and he wants to do well. And when you've got someone like that, it just, I think that kind of vibe, just like what he's bringing to the dressing room at the moment, I can only imagine his positivity, and it's just bringing a togetherness among all the players. And yeah, I'm here for it, and just hopefully, it brings some more good results moving towards like this busy run we've got coming, because obviously I know I was looking at the fixtures, we've got a lot of Saturday, Tuesday again coming up, and these players are going to be tired. There's going to be a lot of rotation, but I think if they stick together, I don't want to get too excited, but I'm thinking about, I can't help but think about we're going to be sneaking into the playoffs and having a little run to Wembley in May. Yeah. I keep looking and I'm like, oh, we're there. It's going to happen. But, you don't want to get too excited, because, the thing for me, the thing that's bothering me is our goal difference. And what I don't want is, because there's so many teams that are on, there's so many teams on the same amount of points. I don't want that to be the case towards the end of the season and thinking we're going to miss out because we've not scored like 7 more goals or something. I'll be absolutely distraught if that happens. Yeah. Moving over to Tom Dele Bashiru, Mike. It was great to see him back starting a game yesterday. I wouldn't have said it was his obviously best 45 minutes of football. However, it was more about giving him some proper match minutes yesterday and getting him a bit more fit moving forward. Would you agree?
That was it, mate. Yeah, it's about getting him on the pitch and getting some minutes under his belt, as you say. He didn't really do anything of note yesterday. To be honest, I don't know if it was different being in the stadium, Caity, but I didn't barely notice him on the pitch. I don't know if he like I say, he didn't do anything significant, and I don't know if he touched the ball much, but glad to see him back on the pitch. Let's get him some more minutes on Tuesday, and hopefully he'll be a regular again in that midfield, because a midfield of him and Loser, yes, please. Although Sissoko, my thoughts on Sissoko slightly changed after yesterday, but just based on one game, obviously. But yeah, a midfield of Loser and TBD would be ideal.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Sissoko hammered him a little bit since he came back.
Rightly so. Rightly fucking so.
Yeah, he's been poor, but yesterday he came on, got a 45 minutes yesterday, and I thought he was really solid yesterday. I thought he played well in midfield. I thought he was like Loser, brought a calmness to the midfield with Loser. He got the assist and perfectly weighted pass for Kembe for the goal.
He should have had a goal.
And was really unlucky, obviously, with that rocket that cannoned off the crossbar and then the keeper's head. So, yeah, I mean, a completely different performance from Moussa Sissoko yesterday, Caity, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was really impressed with him. I thought he was excellent. And I just think, like, obviously everyone has had their thoughts about Moussa, and I think the hate was justified. Like, he was really struggling. However, I don't think he is as bad as everyone made him out to be. But it is about managing how much he can play. And sometimes it might mean that he doesn't play the full 90 because he gets sloppy. It might mean that he plays and comes on from off the bench for even just a half. Like, that is okay for him to do. And we've seen him. And this is not the first time where he's come on halfway through or sort of half an hour at the end and played well. It's when he's consistently playing 90 minutes every game, twice a week, obviously he's going to struggle. He cannot play at that level that much. And that's just matched with the performances. But when you give him 45 minutes, half an hour, he has got the energy to play well for that time. And I think that we saw that yesterday. So for me, the issue is that when he plays well like that, Cleverly likes to put him in from the start, and then it's like a vicious cycle. So I'd probably not. I'd just keep him, but let Delibashiru start again and do the same thing. It worked. Just keep it like that.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that because, like I say, he did play well when he came on yesterday. Mike, do you think going into sort of Tuesday's game with Delibashiru, obviously still kind of, do you give him 45? Do you give him a bit longer? Can you see maybe Sissoko starting with Loser and then Tom Delibashiru getting the second 45 on Tuesday, maybe?
I was just going to say that. It took the words right out of my mouth. Why not swap it round? Why not start Musa on Tuesday and then 45, bring TDB on? I think that would work. And to be fair, Sissoko deserves his flowers after yesterday. And like you say, we've hammered him on this podcast, and rightly so. But it's only fair that we reward, easy for me to say, his performance yesterday, because he scored in the reverse fixture against Derby. Now he got an assist, so he does love playing Derby. And yeah, reward him, start him on Tuesday, and then bring him off 45. My only worry is I think Tom does like Musa, and I don't know if he will do that. But yeah, that's what I'd do, definitely.
Yeah. Quadro Bar yesterday. Another, would you call it an assist? I don't know if it's not a proper assist, but I mean, still another sign where he just class down that right hand side. His pace, his tenacity, he just wants to get the ball in the box. Yesterday led to obviously a goal. As games are going on, he's just getting stronger and stronger, and just teams can't handle him, can they, Mike? He's just a class player, and I mean, he's not going to leave in January. That's a given. But he's certainly kind of putting himself on the map, and teams will probably be looking at him going into the second half of the season and maybe potential summer interest, maybe.
Yeah, I can't wait to clip what you just said when we sell him in Jan. But no, yeah, it wasn't technically an assist, but he made the goal. It was an assist in the sense that the Blackburn Rovers penalty come from his tenacity down that side. And there's been a couple of others where this is what I've said before. You look at the stats for Quadro Bar and you expect him to be sitting on a lot more assists. But technically speaking, he has only had the few that he's had. But yeah, he was again brilliant yesterday. My only slight nitpick with him was we didn't get the ball down his side enough, and he perhaps didn't drive enough at Elder once he got a yellow card. Now, he got a yellow card and it was contentious, but I can sort of understand where the referee's coming from. That Elder was having none of it. And I think it was it Abu Adams, the chap for Derby?
Yeah.
He clattered Bar, and then that Elder came in and sort of followed through onto him, sort of thing. So I think it was more the follow through that the referee sort of booked that Elder for, but he was fuming. He didn't think he should have been booked. But I would have quite liked to have seen us maybe target those areas a little bit more, because again, add Elder to the list of championship fullbacks that's ever growing of people that can't handle Quadro Bar. And one thing which really baffled me, and it's probably a slight on Paul Warren's sort of tactical nous, and I think a lot of Derby fans are wanting him out. I checked the comments yesterday after the game, and every single one of them said, sack him now, sack him now. Derby are one of the few clubs that haven't doubled up on Bar. We're seeing it a lot more now. They'll double up on him because, and even then he gets through them, but they didn't. So yeah, that would be my only sort of nitpick is not to target them. And to be honest, I think we got away with it as well. We had our two fullbacks booked quite early on, and Derby didn't target us down those sides. So a massive let off. But yeah, nonetheless, Bar doing superbly. His tenacity, his power, his strength, helping us get that first goal. And do you know what else is nice? To see us put one of those chances away. How many times in the past have we said we're not clinical enough in the final third. If that chance falls to us, I don't know, 4 or 5 games in, I don't think we score it. And even as recent as maybe 3 or 4 games ago, I don't think we score it. But Loser was there, stayed calm, and he scrambled the ball in. Not the prettiest of goals, but they're the goals that they're the chances you have to take. Yeah. And we took it, and we were 1-0 up and fully deserving of it as well.
Yeah, I think it's just also worth mentioning, obviously, we're not going to go into the Cardiff game, but obviously it was a great cross from Bar on Tuesday night, and it was an even better header, I think. I think people obviously are assuming that because it was more or less an open goal, that Bio's got to score that, but it's a little bit behind him, and you can see he had to get himself really behind it to put it in the net. And it was actually a really good goal between the two of them. So, yeah, great link-up play from Bar there, and he's just fantastic. I think he's a great player, and he's got to be a starter every week for me when he's fit. Edo Kayembe, another player that we've been hammering a little bit on the podcast of late. He's looked a little bit lazy in the last few weeks. Yesterday, moved back into the number 10 role and played a bit more further forward. Caity, what did you think of his performance? Obviously, he scored the goal, lovely little finish into the corner of the net. Was unlucky not to get a second towards the end of the game. Were you pleased with how he played in that more advanced role yesterday?
Yeah, and I actually don't know, because I was looking back, and that goal that got disallowed for offside, I don't actually think it was offside, because I saw a big picture of it, and he's not offside in the picture, so, just he should have had another goal. But no, I was really impressed with him. I know we have slagged him off a lot on this podcast. People have written him off a lot. I think that I would even go back and saying the last couple games he's played, he's been better for me. I think he looked much more like he was driving the ball forward. I know people have mixed opinions about him, and some people said he wasn't great. But for me personally, I thought that he was. And I feel like when he's someone who gets a lot of criticism, I feel like when you do have a good game, you should get praised for it. And I think that he works better in that role. And I know that it's a lot of like, well, him and Georgie, like who should play there. But I do think that when he was in that sort of number 10 role, it was much, much better for him. And I feel like he was a standout player for me. Like he played so far forward up the pitch that when it was a lot of him and Bayo, like a lot of them like linking up well. And I thought he carried the ball forward really well. Every time he's driving forward, he's making those runs. So for me, it was really good for him. And again, like that's me going into the next game thinking, well, yeah, he should start, like, and he should be playing.
Yeah, I agree. If he plays in that role and he plays like that, then yeah, he will start more and more games. I think. But another player that played in that number 10 role, as we like to call it, Rocco Vata. Mike, it was a bit more of a quiet game for him yesterday, but still great to see him get 90 minutes under his belt. And as we've said in recent weeks, the guy just oozes class, and every time he gets the ball, it's positive, and he wants to drive forward and create something. And you can see that he's progressing well in getting more minutes, isn't he?
Yeah, and this comparison that I'm about to make might be slightly underplaying Vata, but he's our very own Irish/Scottish Fernando Forestieri, in the sense of every time he gets the ball, you're on the edge of your seat. You're thinking he's going to do something here. And I actually think yesterday he was brilliant. He did everything but score or assist. Perhaps he could have had a goal. There was a chance where Bayo didn't square it across to him, and then he had a couple of block shots. But every time he had the ball, he just wants to get us forward on every single occasion. And I will never say no to a player like that in my team. And I think Clev's, do you know what? At the time, we might have been saying, oh, well, in fact, we did say, we need to be starting Rocco and whatnot. But I think the way that he's done it, now, hindsight's a beautiful thing, by the way. Now that we're at the stage we're at, I think Clev's sort of nurtured him in right, because I think if you throw him into a few of them games earlier in the season, it knocks his confidence because of how poorly we were playing. But I think he's got the right balance now, and for me, he's another one that needs to be one of the first names on the team sheet, because if we play him consistently for the rest of the season, he's going to rack up a lot more goals and a lot more assists. And he played a massive part in winning us a lot of corners yesterday as well, right in front of the Watford fans, especially in that second half. So in that first half, sorry. So yeah, delighted with him, and can see why Man United have been linked with him. Although I think it would be a downward step if he was to join Manchester United. So yeah, little dig there for United.
Yeah, 100%. That'd be a terrible move for him. Unlike when Backman was linked, that'd have been superb. Going on to another player that, again, obviously, performances of late haven't been great, but Vacuum Bio, yesterday I thought he was absolutely superb, and he did everything around the pitch that I personally have been wanting him to do. We as fans have been wanting him to do all those little things where, picking up loose balls and just wanting to win the ball back and just being involved in build-up play. Yesterday, if it wasn't for him trying to win the ball back on the halfway line, the ball went out to Barr and Barr drove forward and it created the first goal. So if it wasn't for Bio there, we wouldn't have got that goal. And then, just picking out the other, the second goal, obviously, he was on the halfway line again. He had the ball, and rather than just trying to run forward, he just kind of took the ball at his feet, looked up, saw Sissoko was driving forward with Kayembe, and it was a fantastic pass to Sissoko, which led to the second goal. So he's involved in both goals yesterday. I thought he was brilliant yesterday, Caity. What do you think of him and his performance yesterday?
No, I completely agree. I think he was excellent, and he was almost everything that we've been screaming at him to do, and it felt like it all kind of clicked and fell into place. I think his performance will go a bit unnoticed because he didn't get a goal or something, but he was a real standout player for me. Like you said, it felt like he was really watching the game and being aware of who else was around him, because I feel like and every time someone was driving forward, he was always in the box. There's sometimes you always feel like everyone's missing when it's like a goal scoring opportunity, no one's there. He was always in good positions, and I think I'm not going to get ahead of ourselves and be like he's the next Deeney. He's not, but he definitely had a great game, and like you said, he's really, really stepping up, and you can see he has those games where everything just works for him, and he's doing, like, the energy he had. He was running all game, and like you said, he was driving forward and he was winning the ball on the halfway line. He was excellent, really excellent, and I was really impressed with him.
Yeah, and it's interesting because for me, he's a real confidence player. When he does well the game before, or something happens the game before, like Cardiff, he got a goal towards the end. He's come into this derby game, and he's obviously delighted he's got on the score sheet. And he was a lot, he was a lot better yesterday on the back of that. Don't you agree, Mike? He really does go off what he does the game before. Like if he'll have a potentially, I'm not saying he's going to, but if he has a bit of a stinker, if he starts on Tuesday, it will then be the case maybe going into the Coventry game. It takes him a little while to then get back into the swing of things, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. He's a very frustrating player, but at the end of the day, he's on double figures. He's the third or fourth highest scorer in the whole of the league. Now, whether that paints more of a picture of how poor the league is this season, who knows? That's another conversation. But he, as Caity said, he ticked all the boxes yesterday other than the scoring goal box. That was left unmarked, unfortunately. But he's desire and willingness to drop deep. He won us a couple of fouls dropping deep as well, trying to win the ball back. And not only does he drop deep, which it reminds her, I'm a bit scared to make this comparison. I'm not comparing his whole game to him, but João Pedro was very good at dropping deep, winning us the ball, and then making sure that he was in the box for said break, because a lot of times yesterday we countered and we did very well at it. So it's one thing dropping, winning the ball, and then finding one of your teammates, but it's another to have that initiative to then think, right, okay, I've done that, but actually I need to be running with these to get in the box to get a chance. And he's doing well. This is probably his best spell in a Watford shirt since we brought him in. And yeah, he rightly gets a lot of stick, and he'll probably go and drop an absolute howler on Tuesday night. But like you said, Joe, he'll come back against Coventry, and we'll be like, "Oh my God, he's had a brilliant game." But he rightly deserves the praise for yesterday. He was everything that we need in a number 9, and it's going to be interesting now to see, do we actually bring in another striker, because we're cutting it fine, as you say. We've got exactly 2 weeks. And I've not heard, the Iheanacho links have died down. I saw Leeds have been linked with him, Leicester have been linked with him. I've not heard anything in terms of bringing another striker in. So is that Clev saying that we're okay with Bio and then Doumbia? So yeah, fair play to Bio. I'm delighted for him, because I really do like him.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I saw someone actually, I think it was a tweet I saw from, I can't remember who it was now, that Watford fans we've been saying for, I don't know how many seasons now it's been. I think I did see a stat that he's the first person to score, is it double figures since Igalo in 2016-17 season or something like that? Or he's going to be the first. Oh no, that was it. He's potentially going to be the first person to score more than 14 goals. Because I think Igalo got 14 goals in that 2016-17 season. He's going to be the first person since then to get that many. And Watford fans have been crying out for a person that's going to do that, and he's doing it, and we're still not happy. But obviously, it's the fact that I think he goes missing in a lot of games, isn't it? And he's never.
Sorry to interrupt, the stat, as you say here, Joe, I've got your text. 4 more this season, and Bio will become the first Watford player to score 14 or more league goals in a season since Odion Igalo, because all of Bio's goals have come in the league. Because Rajovic hit double figures last season, but he scored in the FA Cup. So I think he only got single digits in the league. So yeah, It is a crazy stat. Crazy.
Yeah, mad, isn't it? And just a word, because there has been some comments and stuff, and I was just going to talk about some transfer stuff. I know James from the Watford Ways probably just said here, a Banker and Kevin back soon. In and Kevin back soon. Will Festi and Tikvich now get recalled? Interesting that. Hadn't thought of that. Obviously, Caity, I mean, we saw Tikvich play against Fulham. It wasn't the best second half, but obviously he did play well in the first half. Do you think maybe that could happen? We could lose both of them back to Udinese now with other players coming back into the mix?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, Kevin, we haven't seen anything of him, and I wouldn't be comfortable sending people back before he's even kicked a ball. So I don't know about that. If anything, I do think Tikvik will probably go, just because he's he's not been in and around the first team as much as Festi. I mean, obviously, I don't really know what's going on with Festi, if he's deleted his stuff because of the club or just personal issues. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some stuff will come out in the week about that. But yeah, I mean, it's a possibility, just because we are having people come back from injury, but I just wouldn't risk sending people back now before Kevin's already kicked a ball, and he's obviously got this quite a bad injury that could recur. You just don't know, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, it's an interesting comment that Mike just put out there. Heard he's causing issues around the training ground. That is very interesting, and yeah, will be one to potentially keep an eye on then if that is true. Obviously, I don't know if anybody saw. I don't really want to bring up bad memories. Andre Gray did a podcast with again another person who I've lost a little bit of respect for since he left the club.
All of it.
But it was very interesting, and just from a personal perspective, obviously I know people. I always wanted Andre Gray to succeed at Watford. I know it wasn't obviously the best spell. But it was really interesting to hear his comments about what he said about there being egos at the club, and he struggled by how some people were in the changing room, and it kind of put tarnished his kind of spell at Watford a little bit. So it is a good listen if you do come across it on social media. But just going back to some of these other comments, Richard said about isn't Rajvic coming back? I know Mike's responded there saying it was a comment that was made by Cleverly. Yeah, I don't think he will either. I think he'll probably stay at Bromby for the rest of the season. Mark said Tikvich can go now. There's a reason why Clevy is ready. Yeah, I completely agree with this. For me, every time he plays in a Watford shirt, I mean, he didn't get booked for it, but he had a scrap with Traore in Fulham game. But he just every game every time he plays, he's having a scrap with someone. He just wants to fight every time. Like he's clearly got some anger issues there that he just needs to get out. Maybe he needs to take up boxing or something.
He's in the wrong sport.
Yeah, and he's also said, is it a coincidence we kept a clean sheet with better defensively? Yeah, I mean, we were great defensively yesterday. Mark, completely agree. Just a quick word about Preston on Tuesday. I think it's safe to say, and I don't know if I'm going to put a what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think. I can't even think of the word now.
Jinx,
that's it. I'm going to put a jinx on this. Yeah, thank you, Mike. I think he knows what his starting 11 is almost now. Clevs, like it's becoming apparent that I think with Tom Dele-Bashiru coming back and things, I think he's almost there with knowing who he's going to start every week, and I think we're going to see less rotation moving forward. I think. Mike, do you think he'll stick with more or less I know obviously we mentioned Tom Dele-Bashiru maybe coming on as a sub, but do you think more or less that team will start if Bondo's obviously fit as well, starting on Tuesday night?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Like we've said, Tom Dele-Bashiru probably makes way for Sissoko. But yeah, I would be more than happy if the same team is put out on Tuesday night. I think we've had some absolute stinkers of home games against Preston in recent years. I think we drew, what game was it? We drew 0-0 with them, and we thought that was the end of Ishmael, was it? But it didn't turn out to be the end of Ishmael. Or was it the season we first come back down under Bilic? No, it was a Bilic one. We drew 0-0 with them, and it was an absolute howler of a game. And then at home last season, did we draw with them as well?
I was going to say we drew 0-0 at home with them under Klebs. It was one of his first games, wasn't it?
Exactly. So 2 0-0s at home in a row against Preston. They're not doing bad. They drew 0-0 yesterday with that team down the road. In the last 5, they've picked up 8 points. So they're actually in the top 10 of the form table. So it's not going to be an easy game by any means. I think one of my best mates, Ben, is a Preston fan, and I've been chatting with him and whatnot. And apparently, they didn't have a single shot on target yesterday against Luton. So, yeah, I would start, like I've said, the same 11 bar maybe Musa in for TDB. But yeah, why change anything too drastic? Because we've just gone out and put a brilliant performance in away from home, and confidence is no doubt flowing. You saw what it meant to the team yesterday. Worth mentioning as well, for Loser's goal, all 10 outfield players went and celebrated with him. I've not seen that for a long time, where all 10 outfield players go and celebrate. So there's obviously good camaraderie within the squad at the moment. So why change it too drastically, as I say? And let's go out and... Cats decided to jump about everywhere. So, yeah, let's not change it up. So,
it's interesting because Mark Schofield's actually just said, and also Melanie has said here, one player we haven't mentioned, Caity, obviously Chad Vakatsi wasn't in the squad yesterday. If he is fit, do you bring him back in after yesterday, or he wasn't actually missed yesterday, which was interesting. And it's one player that I forgot to kind of bring up and talk about. Like it's strange, isn't it? Because obviously we consider him a really important player, but it just shows yesterday that we can actually play well without him in the team. And I don't know if it was actually better without him in the team yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it in the group chat last night, and I don't think that he was missed at all. This isn't me saying he should never play again and he's not that good. I mean, he is good, but we had these problems a couple seasons ago where, you know, we were like, oh, we can't play well without Sarr, and then he wouldn't play and we'd play just as well. And it was like, actually, we were realizing that we don't have to center the team around one person. Like, we play as a team and we play just as good with or without them. And yesterday showed that, because I think we had it was a great performance and we didn't need Georgie. And in fact, I felt like we had more goal scoring opportunities because the decision making was so much better. Because, like, I'm going to be honest, Georgie's decision making is not good and he's costing us those chances. And for me, it was more like everyone had the opportunity to get in the box. There was more chances to score because he was not playing, and that is just a confidence thing. That is just him learning. He's still, you know, there's a reason why he's not playing for a Premier League club. There's a reason why he's playing for Watford. He is missing that sort of end ball, final ball quality, and that will come. But I do think that for me, again, I wouldn't, if he's fit, he doesn't start for me on Tuesday. Definitely could see him getting some minutes if he's fit, but we proved yesterday that we can play without him. And can I just say, I just looked at Andrew French's article that he posted this morning, and it was just about injuries, and there was actually a little clip at the bottom about Ebicelli, and apparently it said that he had a small niggle that they didn't risk him for, but there's also a lot of competition in that area. It says these players, Tom apparently said, these players know how much I value training and hard work. If you don't show that, then it's going to be an uphill task. So it's giving, maybe there's a bit of like beef in that area. I don't know. But yeah, I just saw that and thought it was interesting.
Yeah, that is just, definitely worth pointing out. Well, that is interesting to see. Yeah, I think there could be some movement there potentially with him then. Just before we finish up, quick score prediction. Caity, what do you think on Tuesday?
I think we'll win 2-0 again.
Yeah, I was going to say 2-0. I think we're due a home win against these guys. It'd be devastating if we don't. Mike?
Yeah, I am praying for a win so I can give my mate Ben some stick, because believe you me, he still reminds me of that fucking 3-0 at their place, and don't get me started on it. It shouldn't have even been playing, but you just know he's going to pop up with a goal. Do we keep 2 clean sheets in a row? No. And sorry about my last answer, by the way. I realised I repeated myself 3 times. My cat was just about to jump up right in front of the screen, so I batted him away, and I actually fell down and knocked all the biscuits out the bowl. So, yeah, apologies about that. The joys of live podcasting, as I say. But no, let's go with 3-1. Back to home comforts, 3-1. Bio's going to score. Pollock's going to score, and it's going to count this time. And then let's go for Vata. He's going to get the 3rd.
Nice. I like that. I like that a lot. And Mike, just before we finish, I know you wanted to mention briefly about the fundraising.
Yes, I do. So for those that don't know, me and Cam are fundraising for the WD18 Cup. So if anyone doesn't know what that is, last year the lads over at the WD18 fan group ran a cup competition, 5-a-side tournament. I think they did it at Castleberry Park. Well, this year they've gone even bigger. They're playing at Vicarage Road. And of course, we couldn't miss out this time. So we've entered a Voices of the Vic podcast team. So representing us will be myself, Cam, Joe, maybe Ben. He's been a bit Marco Silvery, to be honest, Ben, if you watch this back. He's joined up with his team that he played with last year, to be fair to him. So, and hopefully he'll play for us. And then we've sort of recruited a few friends as well outside of that. But we have to raise £1,000 by the end of May. Now, me and Cam sort of put our heads together and we're like, what can we do to fundraise? Well, we've decided that from the 8th of Jan, which is when the fundraiser started, to the 1st of May, between us, we will run 250 miles. And at the moment, as of right now, I think Cammy's going out on a run today. But as of right now, we've run a total of 33 miles, and we're only on the 19th of Jan. And we've got 217 miles left to complete the challenge by the 1st of May. There is a link to donate if you would be ever so kind to do so at the bottom. The link is also on our Instagram. If you want me to send you the link as well, drop us a message on Instagram or wherever. And it's going really well. It's killing me at the moment. No, I'm running 3 times a week, but I have got 10k. I've got the Watford 10k to do in 2 weeks today, so it should hopefully help me prepare for that. But yeah, if you can donate, doesn't matter whether it's a quid, 10 quid, 100 quid, 1,000 quid, etc. It will all be appreciated, and it goes to 4 different mental health charities. So very, very good causes that are being supported. But yeah, that's the latest update from that.
Lovely. Thanks, Mike. And yeah, thank you ever so much, guys, everybody, for tuning in. I see the numbers have been fantastic, and it's great to have all your comments every week. We really do appreciate you kind of tuning in. And yeah, I think Mike will probably be back on Wednesday, will we, maybe for something to do with Preston, perhaps?
Yeah. If we can get, it's been really tough recently. This is our first podcast since the Fulham preview. I think we've played twice since, so it's difficult with the tight schedule to find when we're free. But fingers crossed, we'll be back on Wednesday and talking about the Preston game. Yeah.
Lovely. Well, thanks ever so much, everyone, as I say, for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, do hit that subscribe button. You'll get a notification every time we're going live. Obviously, if you have watched, please do hit that like button. And any comments you want to put in, obviously, we'll read them out the next time we're on. But yeah, thank you ever so much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day, and come on, you Horns.